Chicago? What do you say? Cubs gonna win today.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise Podcast. We're going to talk about the Cubs with Praz and with Oleg.
Oh.
And guys, who's your second favorite Cubs catcher to ever hit for the cycle?
Ooh.
Second favorite Cubs catcher to hit for the
favorite Cubs
cycle.
catcher. Did like Randy Hundley do it back in the day, right? Or I don't know.
Did Damon Berryhill ever do it?
Well, there've only been two, so I guess it's Carson Kelly. That's your second favorite. Yeah.
Who's the first?
The Rebel, Randy Hundley.
Oh, okay,
Praz is right.
I was right. Awesome.
Do you know how many Cubs have ever hit for the cycle in the 134 years of the Cubs?
Last night was literally the first of my lifetime. I was born in 1994, so got to go back to Mark Royce for the last one.
We're a lot older than you, and he's only the fourth of our lifetimes.
Jeez.
We got all good ones though, except for until Carson Kelly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
how many. One guy did it. It's a trick question because one guy did it twice.
So 14 players, 15 times.
10 players, 11 times. The first two were by the great Jimmy Ryan, who gets a lot of airtime these days because he keeps popping up on Remember This Crap.
One of Donahue's favorites, yeah.
He did it in 1888 against the Detroit Wolverines.
1988. Whoa.
And then he did it in 1891 against the Cleveland Spiders.
Oh.
He's defunct, and so are those teams. So
he's
Naturally.
defunct. When did the Spiders set the record for futility?
Ooh, that was, I think 1899 was that year.
Okay, 1899. Okay. That's okay. So this was probably when the Spiders were good when he hit again the cycle.
Yeah,
again.
that's right.
Were they ever good?
All their glory days. Let's see. He did it in 1891?
Yeah.
Well, that was one of their better. Well, they were good at the beginning. They were 81-68 in. Oh no, they got good about the time. Oh, I see. This is Remember This Crap. Didn't they get rid of all their players, right? In the 1898, they were 81-68, but then in 1899, they were 20-134.
Why did they? Maybe that's a question for Donahue. Why did they have to get rid of their players?
I don't know. They had one pretty good pitcher, the guy you may have heard of, who pitched for him for. He's one of the guys they got rid of.
Would that be Denton True Cy Young?
Yes, Cy Young pitched for the Spiders.
That is correct.
So then after that, it's guys we've all at least, well, I shouldn't say that. Most of the guys we've heard of. Hack Wilson did it in 1930 against the Phillies.
So what? They went 39
they went a long time. They went longer than they did this time.
Okay.
Then Babe Herman did it in 1933. Roy Smalley Sr. did it in 1950. Praz doesn't even know there was a Roy Smalley Jr., but there was.
It's a name I know, but I didn't know there were two of them.
Lee Walls did it in 1957 against the Redlegs.
Okay.
Not the Reds. That's during the communist scare when the Reds had to change their name to the Redlegs. They did it for a few years.
I remember hearing about that.
Something else that I just wrote about happened against the Redlegs. Here's a guy you may have heard of. 1966, Billy Williams.
Okay.
Did it against the Cardinals in the second game of a doubleheader on July 17th. Less than a month later, Randy Hundley did it against the Cardinals in the first game of a doubleheader.
Good.
Okay.
Cubs won both of those.
Good.
They won every one of them except the Lee Walls when they lost the Reds. And then, of course, we know they lost the last one. Not the one last night. They won by a lot. But then in our lifetimes, Oleg, Ivan de Jesus did it in 1980 against the Cardinals.
How did he hit? What is it, inside the park home run?
I guess. Well, there was a basket. He could have hit in the basket by then on Banks
It was
Boulevard.
at
Banks
home.
Boulevard,
All right.
yeah, as Joe
Banks
Morgan
Boulevard.
made famous.
That game ended on a Barry Foot walk-off grand slam.
Wow.
Talk about it probably cost $4 to go to the game. You got a lot of entertainment for those $4.
That's something.
Some guy named Andre Dawson. Did I say that?
Dawson. That's the guy.
He
Yeah.
did it in 1987. We did everything. He did it against the Giants. And then Mark Grace had most recently done it in a loss against the Padres before the great. Who did it last night? Carson Kelly.
Carson Kelly. So he's not okay. So it's second catcher and the 11th cycle. All right. So it's interesting. So nobody's hit for the cycle twice since the 19th century. All right.
Andy, I know you definitely missed this because you're not one to ever watch the post-game show. And I was not watching it, but I was told this by a friend of mine who was watching it at the time. It was only the fourth time ever that a number 9 hitter in the lineup ever hit for the cycle since 1991.
I saw that in an article today.
Yep.
Mostly because, for up until recently, half the number 9 hitters in the league were pitchers. And long before that, all of them were.
Yeah, even the DH is
was 73 that came into existence.
Huh.
Ron Blomberg, right? Blomberg.
Is the DH is older than free agency? Huh.
There's some tie in there too, I think, with him. He may have been one of the first free agents. Not, I think when he left the Yankees, maybe. I don't know.
Huh.
A lot of talking out of my ass here so far. How many minutes into this?
That's
6 minutes in, and I'm just pulling shit out of nowhere.
Right.
Oh, it was fun. Now, Kyle Tucker also came up with a chance for a cycle, right? So we could have had 2.
He was a triple short in Saturday night's game.
I thought he also was last. I thought twice this year already he's had a chance. He's come up with a chance for the cycle.
Hey, Kyle
He's
Tucker
pretty good.
Sounds about right.
I don't know if people know that.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
This this current Cubs front office should think about giving him a contract extension.
Well, let's not go overboard.
Homer double single on Saturday.
Right.
Homer 2 doubles single last night. So yeah, twice.
Wow.
Well, assuming, I believe I read that on Bleacher Nation, so it has to be right.
Yeah.
That he had a chance.
My NL MVP pick looking real good so far.
Carson Kelly?
Yes, Carson Kelly.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, he's not even the best hitter on his own team. What the hell? Going to give it to that scrub? What's his OPS plus is just 206. Carson Kelly's 360, leads the league. Carson Kelly right now leads the league in triples. How about that?
With 1?
Yep, with 1. OPS plus, and those 2 things.
Surprised he even has enough plate appearances to qualify at this point. But...
Kyle Tucker merely leads the National League in hardly anything. Hits, doubles, RBIs, and total bases. That's all. And Miguel Amaya is tied for the league lead with him with doubles. They both have 4. How about that? Considering they have only played 2 good games all year. But I mean, the team.
3. They got 3 wins, right? 3 and 4.
Well, yes. One of those wins was a little bit of a,
Dansby pulling it out of their ass for him.
Yeah. Oh my God, that play at third base was fantastic.
Hey, it was a good play. Whatever. These things happen. They're not the only team who does things like that.
But nice to see the bullpen get their stuff together. If you give them a 15-run lead, they're tough.
If you give them a 15-run lead and you let a former starter pitch the last 3 innings of that game, pretty good.
Did he get a save? He would have got a save, right?
He did get a save.
He did get a save.
Right. He got an at-bat. He got a save. Colin Ray is living the life.
It's like,
Jed's done it again. Carson Kelly, Colin Ray.
Yeah, there you go.
amazing, Kyle Tucker.
Hey, and he was the one to stop the bleeding on Sunday too, after the disaster that took place there.
Yeah, after he's the one who very sternly closed the barn door after all the cattle had run out. Good job, Colin.
Right.
I have a buddy who argues that home runs kill rallies.
Oh, that was a Jim Riggleman theory.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
And so
worst thing you can do during a rally is hit a home run. Like, no, Jim, I don't think it is.
Yeah, that's.
I really don't. I think there are a lot worse things than hitting a home run.
Yeah.
Like maybe hit into a triple play or a double play.
Yeah.
Not hit a homer and score everyone on the field.
Yeah. I texted him. I'm like, I think the Diamondbacks 8th inning pretty much puts a nail into that theory's coffin.
Right. Yeah, just keep hitting them. The Justin Steele leads the league in 2 categories. Now, granted, he's made 2 starts, and very few pitchers have made 2 starts. But he leads the National League in hits allowed and runs allowed.
Oh.
Now, Shota also pitched twice. He doesn't lead the league in either of those things. He leads the league in innings pitched and batters faced.
Is interesting. Has Shota given up fewer counting stats like walks or? Well, I don't know that he's given up. Has he given? He's given up.
Well,
he gave up a bunch of walks to.
He's walked 6.
To the
yeah,
Dodgers.
he walked a lot in that Dodgers game.
Yeah,
I don't know what he did in.
He walked 4 against Dodgers. 2. He was good against.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks was basically everything we saw from him last year, so that's fine.
Although his ERA of .082 is .082 higher than it was after 2 starts last year.
This is true.
Actually after 3 starts last year. I don't know why he's gotten off such a rocky start, but hopefully he can get it together.
0.82, not .082.
Would I say .082?
Yeah,
that would be really low.
That would
great.
be incredible.
Yeah. Giving up 0.08 of a run.
I was going to say .082. Is that what Tony La Russa blew when he got pulled over?
No.
When
he would not have gotten in trouble for that. They'd have let him go. You're right on the fringe, Tony. You can go. Don't you know who I am? And we just said, Tony, get in the fucking car. Actually, we'll drive you home. Boy, the door opens up. All these boxes of wine fall out of the car. It's really embarrassing.
Boxes of wine. My company just got acquired by a larger company that's based in St. Louis.
Fun.
I'm very
well. You can go down there and have some pizza. Go to St. Louis, get the pizza.
It's some toasted ravioli. What else? What else? Toasted ravioli, Provel cheese. Don't they have some other?
They have the weirdly cut bagels where, like, you remember that? Like, I don't know.
Oh, but they cut them across. Like, instead of cutting them across, they cut them as if anybody can see what I'm doing on the podcast. Yeah. But like they cut them like bread as opposed to lengthwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seems about right.
Like white bread instead of a baguette. Does that make sense? Does that even make sense? Yeah.
Well, they're a fan of most white things down there.
Don't even think about burning any toast.
The Cubs they need to plan more road trips to play the A's.
Mm-hmm.
In the last two road series against the A's, they have outscored them 44-6.
That's this game and then last year?
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2023 early.
That was the big sweep where Patrick Wisdom went crazy and it screwed up the whole run differential for the year,
exactly.
And it made it look like they were so much better than they were.
Yeah. That was like the
that
huge
series.
Outlier.
Oh, I wrote about this a bunch. There were 2 series that they just went nuts in, and if you took those out, they had a negative run differential.
Yeah.
Probably
not even like it just made their good differential great. It made their decent run differential acceptable because they just torched 2 bad teams over. They played 6 good games all year, and then we're like, oh, look how good we are. No, you're not.
I did see Michael Barrett win a game against the A's. I want to say it was June.
Oh, I remember.
Was it 04? Yeah.
Walk off. Yep.
It was a Saturday. I remember that. It was a walk off.
Yeah. I was
It
out
was
doing yard
freezing.
work, listening to it, and I yelled, and my neighbor was like, "What's going on over there?" Cubs won. Oh, all right. You heard me like, and I thought I cut my arm off or something. I was like, ah! Everything all right? It is now. Dreamy Michael Barrett just had a walk-off double.
That was, I just remember it was, I think it was June, maybe July, but it was like we were in the upper deck and it was freezing up there for some reason. Like it was just really cold and we obviously were not prepared. Well, I was not prepared, I don't remember.
Till Michael Barrett warmed your hearts.
Oh, yeah. That and the whiskey.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so the Cubs are what? 3-4?
3-4?
3-4.
Right in the
3-2
thick
on
of
American
things.
soil. Although I don't know that Arizona has American soil in their stadium, but
Think they're shipping it up from Mexico? Get that. You're going to get their stadium deported.
That tariff soil in Arizona.
The tariff soil. Arizona's about to raise ticket prices by 25% because they got to pay for the soil.
Yeah, that's right. The tariff on our infield. What are we going to do?
Cubs are fine. They might actually be pretty good. If there's any conclusions to be drawn after 7 games, not as good as the Dodgers.
Let me see them hold on to win like a somewhat close game first, and then I'll tell you that they're good. This bullpen still scares me.
Nah, the bullpen will be fine. They got it all out of their system on Sunday. Was it Sunday or Saturday? Sunday. They got it all out of their system.
Sunday. Yep.
All right, let's see.
It looks like Andy has frozen.
Internet was painfully slow.
So yeah.
Oh,
So I think they'll be fine. No, there he is. Like Presley's not bad, right? He's run into things this week, but he'll be fine. I don't know. The bullpen will be fine. I mean, Eli Morgan clearly stinks, but
we'll see with Eli Morgan. I mean, had good numbers with Cleveland last season, but like, what does Cleveland know that we don't know about him? You know, they're always a little bit better at getting pitchers to pitch well for them, and then they go elsewhere and struggle. So I don't know. As far as Presley goes, if you look at his numbers from last year through like his first 10 to 15 appearances, like he was pretty shaky then, and then like settled down rest of the year as well. Granted, it was a different role for him as, you know,
setup guy,
late inning reliever, setup man, not a closer, but see how it all shakes out with him.
I don't know about it, because that's what he was in Minnesota too before the Astros got him.
My concern with like Porter Hodge is that he doesn't throw enough strikes, and that's been his problem in the outings this time. And with Presley, it's that his velocity, you know, he's getting old, your velocity goes down. And when guys you're better off. This is me. This is me being Tommy Hotovy. Guys, lean back and listen to this wisdom. You're better off throwing the ball 92 and still having it move than you are trying to throw it 95 and having it straighten out. And I think he's trying to throw harder.
Presley?
And you can take all the movement off your pitch. You can go, look, I threw it 95. And it's nice and straight for the batter. So he needs to embrace his inner Rod Beck. You just got what you got, and don't worry about it.
Hey, once he gets to Chicago and experiences our great food, then he'll really embrace his inner Rod Beck.
He's got to get fatter. Come on,
exactly.
Ryan. Chub up. That's what we need out of you.
Wait, was it Beck or Myers who lived in an RV?
That was Beck.
It was
Beck. That was after his stint in the majors with the Cubs. It was like the end of his career when he was trying to hang on and sign a minor league deal with Iowa.
Yeah, well, he was beautiful Sec Taylor Park or whatever they called that thing back then.
Right,
living in the parking lot. Maybe someday that's what Ryan Presley can aspire to. Someday you're gonna ditch your family and you're gonna live in an RV in a minor league parking lot, and then you're gonna die young and get buried in your Cub jersey, just like Rod Beck.
I do. That does seem really cool. Like just to live in an RV. Like, I mean, to drive around, but it's a very in my head that's very romanticized.
Give Joe a call, see if he let you borrow the Cousin Eddie. Maybe you could live in that for a while.
Yeah.
He's probably, him and Jay are probably touring the country because he's not a manager, and I don't think he's ever going to get to be a manager again. So,
even though he wants to be,
why? Like why? Why would nobody hire him?
He doesn't fit the profile now of.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's kind of interesting that, well, maybe. I mean, Bochy came back and Tito's back, so maybe.
Yeah.
But most front offices like a guy who basically they could tell what to do. He really bristled against that the final year with the Cubs, and the whole time he was with the Angels. Like,
yeah, but when he was with the Rays, like they were very much a forward-thinking analytics team.
Right, but he'll tell you it was different. It was they presented the data and let him run the game.
Okay.
Like basically it was his job to apply this, but apply it how you want to, how you think best. And end of Theo and all his time with the Angels, it was, here, do this. And he's like, what the fuck do you need me for then? If you're just going to tell me what to do, why don't you just do it? Put the sanitary hose on and come do it yourself. That's why I wonder if he'll ever get to manage again.
Gotcha.
But I kind of wonder, my theory had always been if the Pirates ever actually got good, then that he would be the perfect guy to get, once they got, but they don't ever seem to want to get an offense, so they're never going to be good. They're just going to piss away this pitching.
I wonder, isn't one of Theo's underlings, the president there, Ben Cherington, right?
No, yeah. Hein Bloom took over.
No, Hein Bloom's in
the
St. Louis.
Yeah,
it's Cherington.
I wonder, with maybe a similar philosophy to Theo, if they would maybe clash because of how it ended with Theo here.
I don't know. Maybe Theo realizes that didn't work, and maybe he should have just let Joe manage his own team. I don't know,
but it didn't work.
The biggest problem there was that they were nobody was hitting.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think Joe couldn't do much about that.
Yeah, and it didn't help that the owner didn't allow the president to sign more good hitters for that team.
But Theo did things in 19 that really annoyed me. He was basically upset that they weren't taking batting practice more, and all the shit that supposedly, the Joe came in and got rid of all the unimportant stuff. And all of a sudden, when they weren't successful, Theo just wanted to go back to doing it the old way. Do this instead. It's well, taking more batting practice isn't going to make anybody get a hit. But,
yeah.
But whatever. I am worried, though, that the bullpen, the Eli Morgan thing, just like you said, Praz. I mean, he had such a good year last year for Cleveland. He doesn't make any money. And Cleveland's like, hey, Carter, you want him? He's yours. It doesn't fit the profile. They get rid of guys when they don't want to pay him. You don't have to pay him. He's nowhere near where you have to pay him. He still had an option left. That's why he ended up having to get fake sent to Iowa before the start of the season. And then, Caleb Thielbar, who is 1,000,000 years old. And the Twins feel like, I think they wrung every last out of him. And he was bad last year. And they're like, all right, go try it somewhere else. And Ryan Brazier, who was basically, I guess he was hurt. Hopefully he really was hurt. Because he was serving up, the Braves were, it was a fight at the bat rack and they were hitting the ball 800 feet off of him. And it kind of made it look like, well, maybe that's why the Dodgers let you go. And I get the idea that, the Dodgers have stockpiled so much pitching that somebody has to go. And I'm sure that was the Cubs theory as to why, somebody useful will get shake out of that. And maybe it will, but I don't know. It's a bullpen that's built primarily out of
spare parts,
pieces that were thrown on a scrap heap, and Jed sorted through it. Even the Astros were kind of like, hey, how about this Ryan Presley? We don't really want to pay him $14 million, but they're paying him $6 million to get rid of him.
But there are so many. Yeah, well, there are a lot of. That's how that happens all the time.
Right. If you're good at building a bullpen, you're gonna. Some of your guys, some guys that teams gave up on that you think why you're gonna fix them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And relief pitching is so volatile year to year.
Right. But that's what they're counting on.
That's the Brian Dunsing thing is the greatest example of that ever. His first year with the Cubs, nobody could hit him. Second year with the Cubs, not doing anything different, he was throwing batting practice. It's because he's a reliever, and that's what happens. So,
looks like Nate Pearson is that guy this year.
Nate, it'd be nice if Nate would actually throw a strike on one of the first 2 pitches to a batter ever. That would really help Nate Pearson, I think. I think it's the pants. As much as I was happy to see they gave him pants that actually fit, maybe you need to go back to the ones that are way too tight because maybe he can't throw strikes in the normal fitting pants.
Call up Robbie Ray, see if you can get his old pair of pants. Get you squeezed in there nice.
Here's an interesting chart that somebody sent me. I don't know how to. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys.
Oh, good. This will be good for the home listener.
Well, we could talk about it because what it is, it's a chart that shows every team's 2024 revenue and their 2025 payroll plus tax.
Glad to see you read the newsletter.
Did you?
There's a whole section of the newsletter. No, it's fine. We can bring it up. I may have seen this. I may have seen this chart.
Oh, you know why I don't read the newsletter anymore? For some reason, I'm not a member anymore. Like I got to pay for it. I don't know why. Like it didn't carry over. When I
must have had you on probation.
Yeah, that's why. That's what it is.
All right, fine. I guess I'll count. We'll recount.
No. You don't have to. You don't have to comp it.
You don't have to pay. You're on the podcast.
I'll pay for it. That's all right. But
I made Praz pay for 2 years. I didn't even realize it. I get what was it? No, I think I comped you, and then it ran out, and I noticed it. I saw a thing. I'm like, shit. Why is he paying? He's on 2. He was on. You were on 2 podcasts at the time. I'm like, oh shit. So, took care of that.
Do I have to pay half since I'm only on 1 podcast?
Yeah. I gave Cap got a free year when he did the draft day podcast with us.
Yeah.
And then when his thing ran out, he made a big deal of telling me that he resubscribed. That I'm paying now. I'm like, good, because you haven't been on the pod in 2 years. You should be paying. Would charge you double, Chachi.
Invite him to this one.
Oh, he's sick and tired of talking Cubs enough already, as it is.
Well, here, while you're doing that, I'll pull the chart up myself because I'll go to my own newsletter.
So it's infuriating.
It is. It's one of the. I mean, the Cubs can't hide. I mean, I put in the newsletter today all the excuses they're going to give, which is, that revenue number is inflated. That's Forbes doesn't really know what our revenue is. To my thing, it's like, well, you should have the 3rd highest revenue. So if you don't, then Crane Kenny's got to go because that means he's not ringing it out of there. I have a feeling that revenue number, I'll bet if it's wrong, it's low. I'll bet it's not high. I'll bet it's too low.
I will say this. It does seem like doing the calculation, they probably make $200 million off the gate at Wrigley Field every year, right? 3 million fans times what's their average ticket price? $70.
A lot.
Yeah.
One of the highest in the leagues for
second highest, right? Just behind the Yankees.
So that's about $210 million, right? Let's assume it's $70 times 3 million fans. And that's before you get to concessions or merchandising or anything else like that. Before you get those stupid beer bats. Sorry, Praz, if you got one.
One time, yes.
Yeah. And then it's embarrassing and it's maddening and it's a bonkers way to be a fan of a team.
I mentioned this. I'll plug, the other podcast that I do because we just recorded last night. Bums in the Bleachers, Chicago Sports Bums YouTube channel, Monday nights. I mentioned this on that podcast we recorded last night that I would love for some beat writer or business guy the next time that Tom Ricketts speaks with the media, just to ask. So after the Cubs traded for Ryan Presley, if Jed was not able to make a deal done with Cody Bellinger for the Yankees for Cody Poteet, who's now a Baltimore Oriole, and that what he really wanted was the salary relief on Cody Bellinger, would you guys be in the red right now? Would you guys be looking to sell? Would you guys be declaring bankruptcy right now? Because you didn't save that money.
Yeah.
I will say I don't mind the Bellinger trade Because he just didn't have anywhere to play. Like, he'd make the team probably better, but what are you going to do with him?
I don't think you listened to Andy on his last podcast he recorded. There was a move that could have been made.
I'd rather have him play first base than Michael Busch.
Yes.
Oh, and trade Busch.
Yeah.
You probably definitely get more for Busch, right? He had a good year last year. And
right. But to your point, I think you're going the same way I am. It's trading Cody because you feel like you don't have positional fit for him is one thing. Giving him away is ridiculous. You couldn't tell me you couldn't have gotten Cody Poteet already gone. He's an Oriole now.
Yes.
Selling above ground pools in Baltimore or whatever he's going to do when the Orioles cut him. But you didn't even try to trade him for a human that could play baseball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the issue. I agree 100% with that. There was a baseball reason to trade Cody, but you didn't make a baseball trade. You made a financial trade when you really don't need to because you have money coming out of your ass.
Because if you would have wanted to make a baseball trade, you probably would have had to eat another $10 million, which would have
you would have had to have taken back. You would have taken back a player with a real salary, somebody probably who could help you.
Yeah.
Instead, they took back a guy that they don't have to pay.
Yeah.
But they also sent $5 million.
Yeah. Well,
so the Yankees need the $5 million. The poor Yankees couldn't have made payroll without that $5 million. Yeah, that was the issue. And I think it's I don't think Michael Busch is a bad player, but to me needs to be like your interim first base. Like I don't see his upside being a guy that you want to play first base for you for 10 years. So if you could incrementally improve, which I think Cody would have been a better player this year than Busch. And then if Cody leaves after this year he had gone, you'd be in the market for real offense at first base. But Michael Busch is their cleanup hitter, so clearly they must know something.
There's something. Well, I don't know that they're counting on. I mean, Michael Busch is 28. I don't know if they're counting on him being.
They're counting on him being cheap for the next few years playing first base. That's what they're counting on.
Right.
Oleg, are you sending subliminal messages in Morse code?
Oh, did you DJ this? Oh, sorry. I'm just fidgeting. Sorry.
I'm already waiting for the emails from people. Like who was banging for the entire podcast?
I am so sorry. I didn't know it was pretty
fine.
It's a USB drive that I have that's very flexible and.
Can we just call Kelly Dwyer right now to play some guitar for us and have that replace the background music instead of the tapping?
Kelly, can you lay down 32 minutes of background music immediately? So on your handy chart here, Cubs' third highest revenue, 14th highest payroll. They spend 36.4% of their revenue on their payroll, which is embarrassing. They are, when you're hanging out with the Brewers, the Guardians, the Pirates, the Rays, the Sox, and the Marlins, which is where they are. They're right in the middle of that. That's not the neighborhood you're supposed to be in.
No, it's not. And the thing that really will drive you up a wall about that sort of scenario is that, I mean, okay, the team that's in first place right now is the Cardinals. I don't think they're going to wind up being in first place 10 this season because they're going to wind up trading away their best player and probably multiple others at some point this season.
Even if they keep those guys, they're just not that good.
Well, but we've seen not that good Cardinals teams be able to.
Well, yeah, they'd win the World Series.
Exactly.
They got it.
Right. That's entirely
80 games
my
and
point.
win the World Series.
Yeah. So it's just setting up for like one of those teams that, that you're ahead of in payroll to jump you, as has been the case with every year that the Brewers have won it, as has been the case, a lot of the years that the Cardinals have won it. And it's just, it makes you realize like all they need to do was maybe spend another like 20 to 25, 30 million. Yeah. And they'd have like, by far the best roster in the division.
Well, it gets back to my theory, which is if you have a really good team, then your payroll is fine. If you have a bad team, you're not paying enough because you don't have enough good players. You got to go get them. if you want to keep your payroll low, that's fine, but you better find a lot of really good cheap players and win a bunch of games. And if you're not winning games, then because you have a shitload of money, you should spend that money to get better players and win.
Yeah.
You know, they're the only team in the division that spends even, so the Cardinals are second, right? 160 million. The Cubs are 213. And they're like, oh, look, we outspend the rest of our division. Yeah, well, I didn't think you were playing to win the division. Isn't the idea to win the World Series? So you shouldn't be, you have a free pass to the playoffs if you'll take it. If you would spend like the Dodgers or the Mets, you wouldn't have to worry about winning the division. That becomes a given because you're trying to beat the Dodgers. That's the team you're trying to beat. But that was pretty apparent when the two teams went to Japan. You know, the Dodgers don't even, Mookie is, you know, got stuff coming out of both ends, and Freddie's like, I might got a sore rib. I'll just take the days. And the Dodgers still kicked your ass twice. It's not a great look. But
I mean, imagine this bullpen, you know, with an extra $20 million and a couple different players.
Yeah, like if you had brought Ryan Presley in to be your eighth inning guy, and Porter Hodge would be your seventh, you'd feel really good about your bullpen. But you move them both up one spot, and now you're like, ugh.
If you ponied up the extra, what, $5 to $10 million it would have taken to get, you know, a Tanner Scott.
But there's a different argument there, though. That's because everyone around the league can see your aspirations. Tanner, if you're anywhere close, why if you were Tanner Scott, why wouldn't you go play for the Dodgers? Because I would think you'd want to win. You know, you're going to make almost as much. Say the Cubs had outbid the Dodgers by $5 million, and you're Tanner Scott. $5 million is a lot of money, but it's also shit. I could play in, if I sign a 5-year deal, I could play in the World Series 5 times. If I go to the Cubs, they're not really trying to win the World Series.
Yeah, if you're Tanner Scott, right? He's 30 years old, so this is not going to be his last contract. If he's good with the Dodgers for 4 years, then somebody will give him another 4 years.
That'll be the Cubs then, finally, when he's not as good.
Exactly.
He's not as good.
He'll slide into their price range.
Yep.
And be like, oh, we did it. We got it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. It would have been a lot better to have had him 5 years ago.
Well, it'll be 1 year into his 4-year deal that he signs with another team, but then you have to trade a prospect to get him.
Yeah,
if you're the Cubs, as was the case with Ryan Presley.
See if he can get that team to eat some of his money, and got to do that. There also the other chart that came out was the top. How many did they list? At least 10, maybe more. Jersey sales.
Okay.
And there's no Cubs on that, of course. Which is nothing except for if you were the Cubs and you had a star, of course you have Tucker now. Maybe people just haven't had a chance to buy their Kyle Tucker jerseys.
Well, no.
But why would you buy one? Because you know he's going to leave. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Cubs just convinced themselves that, the obvious shirts guys are cutting into our business because instead of buying a $140 jersey, you buy like 6 $20 obvious shirts with hilarious sayings on them. It's their fault. It's not our fault. And those two have a partnership of some kind. Cubs are getting a cut on that.
I'm sure. Are jersey sales like revenue sharing? Like, do they get evenly distributed amongst all the teams, or does the logoed team get?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
my guess is, you might be right. It could be that like the Fanatics owns everything now, which is why everything sucks. Mm-hmm. That stuff might get divvied up evenly, but I would guess that if the stuff you sell like in your own park, you keep a big cut of that. So there's still an advantage to having, like, if you have a star and everybody wants his jersey and people come to the game and can't help themselves, they have to buy it. That's a good thing.
Is Shohei number 1?
Yeah. I guess I got to pull that list up.
What is it? Shohei Judge.
It's either
or Judge.
I was going to possibly think Judge just because he's the best player on a team that has like been on that same team for his whole career.
Yeah, but the Yankees, like the Mets have Soto, so I'm sure that. Well, I mean, the fandom is half and half. The Dodgers pretty much own Southern California.
All right, I have the top 20 here.
Okay.
Shohei is number 1.
Okay.
He's not. There's another Dodger at number 2. Judge is 5th. Freddie Freeman's 2. Juan Soto is
Freddie.
3rd. Then Mookie. Then Judge. He's 5th.
Is Tatis 6?
Francisco Lindor is 6th.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, it's so big.
Okay.
So New York and LA.
Right. Which is exactly where, like, if you did this 10 years ago, well, maybe 8 years ago, there's a shitload of Cubs.
Yeah, Bryant and Rizzo.
Yeah, because they're also one of the
Lester.
yes.
Yeah.
Lindor 6th. Bryce Harper is 7th. Jose Altuve is 8th. That's because little kids, you can buy his actual size and it fits.
Yeah. The game
Ronald Acuna is 9th.
Interesting. All right.
2 more Dodgers are 10th and 11th.
Wait, let me guess. Hold on. 2 more Dodgers. Is it Yamamoto and Sasaki?
No, it is
Well,
Yoshinobu Yamamoto at 10th.
Yeah.
11th is an old Dodger hanging on for dear life
Kikè Hernandez?
before he goes to the Hall of Fame. Clayton Kershaw is 11th.
Yes.
It'd be awesome if it was Kikè Hernandez. That'd be the one thing that I would
Well,
like.
it would be if you played the Cubs every game.
Yeah.
It would definitely be him.
I'm
Tatis
sure
is 12th.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in the southeastern United States that just get his first name on the back of the jersey. Kikè Hernandez.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's
a long way to go for that joke, man.
That's why I was glad Ron Santo wasn't around for Kikè, because there's no way he would have said that right.
Yeah.
He would have got himself in all kinds of trouble.
Exactly.
You have to say with the accent over the E. Is it where the?
Oh shit! I didn't look at the list. All right, you're gonna get very excited here in a minute. Then Tatis is 12th. Ellie De La Cruz is 13th.
Okay.
Gunnar Henderson is 14th.
Okay.
Paul Skeens is 15th.
All right.
That's lower than
Kikè
I would've
Hernandez is 16th. Yep. There's more Kikè Hernandez jerseys being sold than any Cub.
You are
16th.
Wow. All right.
17th is Corey Seager.
Okay.
18th, Bobby Witt Jr. 19th, this is annoying. 19th, Anthony Volpe.
That's all the Italians in New York. That makes sense, I guess.
And 20 is Manny Machado. Just
all right.
But not a Cub to be seen.
Yeah. Well, if they give Tucker,
an extension, he would
$100 million contract.
jump up that list. Yeah.
Yes, and they could make all their money back just from that. But
yeah, my feeling on that is they don't want to give out the big contract, because the Ricketts are going to be one of a large group of owners who are going to insist that they need a salary cap in baseball, and they're willing to blow up the whole 27 season for it. Why don't you just do the reverse Reinsdorf? You sign the guy right before you make the case, instead of what Jerry did, which was you spend a shitload of money on Albert Bell right after you fuck up an entire season.
Right. That's sort of the thing, is that there's if you're going to argue for the salary cap anyway, there's very little risk in you signing a large contract.
Unless you're making the argument that even a big market team like us, if we could open our books and show you, you'd be amazed, but we can't for reasons. We can't sign our own players because they're getting out of control. That'd be their whiny little, it's all bullshit. They could pay him twice and they'd still turn a profit.
Well, there might be overhead in running the ballpark that we don't know of.
Well, it didn't. I'm sure they will tell you that it didn't help that Crane went over budget by $1 billion.
Yeah, it didn't help at all. So you would think to just fire that guy, but it's still here, friggin' 21 years later.
Oh well.
I'll ask Tom on Friday. I'm sure he'll walk by.
Yep. Come out, make the rounds.
Mm-hmm. Not going to be sober this time.
Oh, well, good.
Last time I talked to Tom, I was not. I invited him on the podcast.
I'm still waiting. I'm sure he'll come.
Yeah, still waiting to hear back from his people.
I can email him. He did give me his email address. It's very. I don't know if I should say it out loud. I'm not going to.
I'll say this. I had
Tom
one...
at Cubs.com. Is that what he gave you?
Yeah.
I bet he's the one answering. That's his personal one.
Yeah.
That's the one he answers all the time. That doesn't go through 6 layers of secretaries before he sees a thing.
He was standing with, I think it was Joe Sheehan, the guy who owns the Metro and G-Man. And I think he was standing with
not the writer.
Yeah, not the guy. Does he have a baseball newsletter too?
No, I think it's Joe Sheehan. I think that's the guy's name. Anyway, so he's standing with him, and he gets you the email address, and I just kind of look at him like, you've got, like, do people actually believe you when you say that?
Yeah.
And Joe goes, no, that's really his email address. I'm like,
yeah,
get out of
sure
here.
It is. Oh boy. I'm a little the Cubs, they made all these moves, they did all this stuff, and then you see the opening day lineup, and you got Michael Busch batting 4th and Matt Shaw batting 5th, which has now been fixed because they just moved Nico up. Just the guy you want to hit in the middle of your lineup is Nico Horner. Right. Although he's got a torpedo bat now, so everything's fine.
Hey, that may fix him.
Well,
yeah, him and Dansby are using them, and apparently Hap has one, but he hasn't used it yet. And judging by his early production, maybe he should. Actually, Hap's been pretty good. No, he hasn't been good.
Went 0 for 2, a couple walks last night.
He's at 179, 343, 321. So, break out the torpedo, Ian.
Yeah, get to it.
But honestly, the whole, I guess, Boog prattled on about it last night, and there was more there than what I had read. They made it sound like the idea behind the bat was some hitters don't hit the ball on the barrel, they hit it farther down, and so all they did was they took the bat and reshaped it so you had more wood towards the label, so you could make more solid, you could hit in the same spot, and you could make more solid contact, and you hit the ball hard.
I think that's right.
But Boog was, or maybe it was Taylor, anything she says I'm always a little dubious of. They were they're tailor-made to each player. So like they do a study and they see where on the bat you hit, and then they move it. So that thing can move around. And I guess that would explain why some guys' bats look more bowling pinish than others.
Yeah, yes.
Like the Dansby one doesn't really look, like if you look at it real close, you can see that the reason that it kind of tapers up towards the top is you still want like however many ounces his bat is.
Right. You don't want to make
he wants it to be the same, so they just redistribute the weight. Yes. They don't just, people were acting like, they do the hilarious thing where they put like the big red, like soft little kid, like wiffle ball bat thing. Like, let's just use these. They're not making the whole bat bigger. The bat is the same weight. They're just moving around where the thick part is.
Yeah. No, I think that's right.
And hitters have been fucking with their bats forever. Some guys have thin handles. Some guys have thick handles. It was a big deal like 20 or 30 years ago when they started to cup the end out, which you could shave off like a half ounce at the very top. That. And I think some guys liked it because you could actually just like set the bat down. It would stand up. Like, look at this. My bat doesn't fall over. So people have been doing this forever.
Yeah, they have those axe handle bats.
Yeah. Oh, that was going to be a huge deal.
Yeah,
everybody was going to hit 60 homers because they switched to the axe handle bats. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the reason this thing exploded is because the Brewers' pitching is so fucking bad. I mean, that's what happened. The Yankees in 2 games just went, and those second and third games went nuts.
It took 3 pitches. It was literally Nestor Cortez's first 3 pitches.
Yeah. It's amazing. Welcome back to the Yankee Stadium. Boom, boom, boom. You're down 3-0. He gave up 8 runs in 2 innings, and the guy who came in to relieve him gave up 8 runs in the next 2 innings. They had 2 pitchers into the Saturday's game. They were down. They already allowed 16 runs.
That was beautiful.
Well, they'll be fine when Brandon Woodruff comes off the injured list. That'll fix him.
What'd you say?
Brandon Woodruff.
Oh, Woodruff. They said Brandon Wood. Wasn't there a Brandon Wood who was a shortstop? Maybe for the Angels? I don't remember.
That sounds right.
I didn't say that. But maybe there was.
You did not say that. No.
There's a Brewer pitcher getting congratulated right now. He's coming out of the game.
I'm watching the
they're winning.
Diamondbacks
They're up
Yankees.
2-0 against the Royals.
It's the great Shad Patrick coming out, I believe.
So I have a bone to pick with MLB Big Inning.
Okay.
Somehow they're way ahead of the other games on MLB.TV. You'd think they'd be behind, but they're ahead. And so I had the 2 TVs set up, and I had it wasn't the Cub game. It's the Cub game I watch on regular marquee, and I expect being to actually be behind it, but it's ahead of it because Comcast, I don't know what they do, but they slow everything down. And my phone will update. I knew Dansby hit a homer. Was it last night? Yeah, last night, because the score changed on my phone. And then I looked up, and the ball hadn't even been thrown to him yet. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a home run. And it was.
Do you get it? You get it through Comcast, right? You have Comcast.
Well, because I have
DirecTV?
Comcast, I have MLB Extra Innings through Comcast, which gives me MLB.TV.
No. I'm sorry, Marquee. My question is, do you get it streaming or do you have a wire connected to your cable box?
I have both, because if you subscribe to Marquee through Comcast, then you get the streaming for free.
Right.
So like when I'm out and about, I can watch the Cubs on anything because I'm paying for Marquee through Comcast.
Yeah, I guess my point being that if you're streaming something over the internet, it'll probably be slower than if you're getting it through your wire.
You would think that. That's not how it works.
Oh, that's not okay.
If I somehow could get the Cub game on MLB.TV and put it on this TV next to the one with Marquee on Comcast, .TV would be ahead
of Comcast.
Wow.
You'd think it would be the opposite. It's not.
Exactly. That's bonkers. Okay. That's nuts. All right.
So things were getting spoiled. I was looking, I'm like, I was watching the Giants and the Astros, and it was one of the quad box on the other TV, and I would look over and I would see like Elliot Ramos get a hit, and I'd turn over and he was still batting. I'm like, well, I know what this is going to be. I mean, it's a first world problem. I'm not saying that this is, but it's odd. It seemed weird to me that it happened. It seems like at least they would be even because they're both being streamed on the exact same thing. Maybe one of my TVs is faster than the other one. I should call him and ask. Is my TV too fast? Your TV doesn't have a speed, dummy.
Is your TV running?
I do remember hearing, like, for the Dodgers games in Japan, someone telling me, they were both broadcast on Marquee and on Fox. And I remember one of my friends telling me, like, Fox is the way to go for those games, even if you might not like the announcers, just because the feed will be ahead on Fox as opposed to Marquee. So,
well, Crane has to approve all the content on Marquee, so he has to see it first, and then he's like, "Okay, yes, okay, nope, we can't show that." That was a double for the Dodgers, right? We can't show that. So there's like a 4-minute delay while Crane reviews the content, sees if it's acceptable or not.
Oh, what a Mickey Mouse organization.
There's another little nitpick from last night. Now I figured it out because I feel like I'm relatively smart. So I watch the game. I don't watch pregame, so I literally wait until the pregame's over and then I turn the game on. And maybe they talked about it in pregame, but you shouldn't assume. And it was the bottom of the first before Boog explained why every Oakland A was wearing 24. It was because of Ricky Henderson. They were honoring. And when I saw here's how I experienced it. Whoever their awful pitcher was last night, I'm like, that's weird that he's 24. I thought they retired that for Ricky. So I'm watching him pitch. And then actually, I think first it was like, why didn't that guy have a name on his jersey? And then it was why. And then I'm like, oh, I'll bet everybody's 24. And then as soon as they show another player, you figure it out. So I know what it is.
Right.
It took Boog till the bottom of the first to tell everybody why all the A's were wearing 24. It's like, Boog, it's kind of noticeable. Every player on the field for the A's is wearing the same number. Maybe you could have addressed that at the beginning of the game.
Do you think it took that long for Boog to figure it out?
He probably didn't know. He probably didn't notice. Is there more than one guy wearing 24? Yes, they all are wearing 24.
I will say
he thought it was just because they were playing at a minor league ballpark and they couldn't afford different numbers for the players.
Yeah, basically. Oh, that's too bad. They're so cheap. They just have the same jersey. Yeah,
they got a discount.
I enjoy later in the game when there was some position player that came in and pitched for the A's, and JD couldn't figure out exactly who he was because he's like, all right, some guy in there wearing number 24 out there.
Oh, that's funny. I would imagine that might be a problem if you're the A's, right? Like, the hell knows who's on that team?
I did see, because I watched a clip that had Ricky Henderson's 3 daughters throwing out the first pitch.
Yes.
But before it, you could see part of the pregame thing. And so I hope the Cubs don't do this. The A's had this long, red carpet. The guys were coming out behind center field and running all the way in. It was taking forever. When they're introducing them because it's opening day.
Yeah.
But they have their PA announcer. It doesn't matter that she's a woman. Just the PA announcer was saying, number 24, JT McFarland. Number 25. So you don't need to give the number every time. They're all wearing the same one tonight.
Right.
Just, we get it. Just stop with the number.
Well, and especially, I mean, obviously there are other ways to know this, but the reason why you do that is maybe it's your first introduction to that player. And maybe you would want to say what number they'll be wearing in all the other games that they're going to play there.
I have no problem when they have different numbers telling everybody what number they are, but when they're all the same, you can stop saying it every time.
Right.
Well, I mean, it just becomes unhelpful. What difference does it make?
And she was mixing it up. She was like wearing 24, and she'd give a name. Or sometimes it was just number 24. It's like, I just stop. I know you're reading what they gave you. Change it. Whoever wrote that for you is a moron. She's starting to put the emphasis on different syllables of wearing. Number 24. 24. Number
24. Oh.
I was excited for a minute. I thought maybe they had retired around the league. This was the way they were going to announce they were retiring number 24 around baseball for the 3 greatest 24s ever. I guess 4. We can put Ricky in there. So Willie Mays, Ricky Henderson, Luis Valbuena, and Brian Dayat. I don't know about Steve Buechele. I don't know if he ever ascended to that. And I don't think Caleb Thielbar is going to make it. He's going to pitch a lot better than he has.
Yeah, but what if Presley and Hodge both get hurt and he ends up saving 65 games?
That'd be great.
And
is that the record? What's the record? 64 still?
Lest we forget the great Henry Blanco, too, also number 24 for the Cubs. Before he wore 9. Or maybe after he wore 9. I don't know.
He switched from 9 to 24. There was the Cub curse of catchers wearing 9. I think, so many catchers in our lifetimes wore 9. Damon Berryhill, Scott Service, the great Paul Bacco.
Paul Bacco, yeah.
Good boy, yep.
There were others. And then Hank wore it when his first 2 years, maybe just his first season with the Cubs, or at least his first 2.
He was too good.
He was terrible.
For that number.
Couldn't hit.
He was too good for the number.
He switched to 24, started raking.
Right.
There we go.
At one point, Hank had the lowest active batting average of any MLB player. He switched 24. He hit 260 that year. That's all it took.
The extra 4 weighed down, or the extra digit weighed down his elbow.
It helped him stay back on the ball. Yeah, exactly. Right. He needed a bigger. I'm worried we might need to put 52 back on Pete.
Yeah. God.
Although is that good? 148, 233, 222.
I will say
his OPS plus through 7 games is 27.
I will say this: the difference between batting average and on base percentage is a nice.
Yeah, he's got 3 walks and 30 at-bats, 30 plate appearances.
There are other things the PCA does besides just his.
He's also he has been hitting into tough luck. He's had a couple of balls that I thought were going to drop in. So remember his the Huekpa, that was the Hank White equivalent batting average. That was what a guy was truly hitting. That was like if he in an at bat, he had a really hard hit foul ball. That could have been a hit if he just straightened that out. So you give him a hit. Or a player had to make a pretty nice play. That probably should have been a hit. You just give him a hit.
Yeah, just
That was Bob Euchre's. That was Bob's way of factoring his batting average. So I tweaked the formula and I made the Huekba for Hank. Pete's Huekba would be he's over 300 already this year,
for sure
with his Huekba. Just
I
his
would
regular
imagine.
batting
Well, but
average.
he's done other nice things too, like the throw to get the guy out at third.
I remember
against the
you.
Diamondbacks.
I think it was you who was doubting me when I was telling you what a great arm Pete had, and he showed that puppy off twice already. He can really throw.
I don't think I ever doubted Pete Crow Armstrong's arm.
Oh, I think he did. Maybe it was Loxton. Somebody did. Somebody didn't believe me. Maybe it was Loxton. Let's blame it on Loxton.
I said, blame it on Praz.
All
right, fine.
Yeah, Praz. Way to go. How could you doubt Pete? Who called him Pete Crow? Taylor did. Taylor called him Pete Crow. Just like me and Rick Sutcliffe.
Well, I was listening to the game last night, and I don't remember which one it was, but somebody called him Armstrong.
Just Armstrong?
Yeah.
That's probably Zach.
I don't think it was Zach.
Let's just shorten it. It's too many syllables.
I think it was
I just want Armstrong.
I think it was Hughes.
Really?
Called him Arms. Yeah, like he made a catch or something.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is Armstrong? Oh yeah,
Jack Armstrong, the old Red, started an All-Star game.
Is that the guy who sat up in the rooftop?
No, that was what's his name?
The country singer's dad.
The no hitter.
McGraw, Tug McGraw.
Oh no. This was a
I could see him.
Tom Browning?
Tom Browning, fat left-hander. Yep.
Yeah.
He got big trouble for that.
Yeah,
he got in like C.J. Abrams staying at the casino until morning trouble. Was Lou the manager? Lou might have been the Reds manager then. Yeah.
No.
And I think he thought Lou would think it was funny, and Lou didn't think it was funny. Or maybe maybe Shotzi got mad at him. Maybe the dog got mad.
There you go.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
And told Marge, and so she had to deal with it. She had to put down her Nazi paraphernalia and go down and talk to Lou.
Who's the Mets? Oh, Davey Johnson. Maybe it was Davey Johnson. That could have been around that time.
Yeah, he managed the Reds too. Probably could find out here.
Nah, what fun is that? Sometimes it's good to just not know.
That is true. Let's see. 1993. I bet it was Lou.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Filled in Redskins. Until I've done too many Remember This craps.
While you're looking that up, I do want to thank you for calling out the fantasy league.
Oh, yeah.
I ended up getting a couple of responses.
Just crowdsource it. How about this? Lou was gone by then. It was you were. I bet you were right. Tony Perez managed the first 44 games, got fired, and then Davey Johnson took over.
Ah.
So let's see. Davey Johnson managed the last.
If it was 44, it must have been when Davey Johnson was
It was
manager.
Davey because it was prime summer when Tom was up there.
Right.
Yeah, he probably thought Davey was going to be cool with it. He wasn't.
What do you think Davey Johnson? Davey Johnson wasn't cool with any. Well, I guess maybe he was. Managing the 86
certainly.
Mets.
Yeah, and he certainly cast a blind eye to a lot of things going on in 1986.
Doing rolls in the clubhouse is fine. You want to have any fun outside of the ballpark? That's a no.
The Jeff Pearlman book on the 86 Mets starts with the scene on the plane after they beat the Astros to go to the World Series, and just how badly they trashed the charter plane.
I can't even imagine.
It's unbelievable. That book, there is so much crazy shit that happened with that team. I still didn't like them when I got done reading it, but I was, it was fun. It's a fun read, but I still hated the 80s. I still hate the 86.
The 4-part 30 for 30 on them was a good. Obviously, didn't go into. They went into Daryl and Dwight's problems, if I remember right, but they didn't really go into kind of the 86 Mets or kind of the rest of them. Gary Carter was the Bible thumper on that team, right? He was the one who was
he did not fit in.
Yes. Yep.
And they loved to make fun of him and there's some of the stories we knew, like Kevin Mitchell when he came up in Game 6, didn't have anything on under his pants because he thought they'd lost the World Series, and he was basically naked he was getting undressed, and he had to go bat. Like Kikè Hernandez was standing in the tunnel with smoking a cigarette and yelling, "Mitch, you're up." What? We're still going? It's like, yes. Like Keith made an out and thought the season was over. That's basically why he was standing in the tunnel smoking cigarettes. He thought they'd fucked it away. It was all gone. The promo book is called "The Bad Guys Won." A season of brawling, boozing, bimbos, and something else. It's pretty good. You can get it used on Amazon now for like $7. So
that does kind of remind me. Remember the Sports Illustrated cover story about, was it Gary McLean? Was that his name for Villanova?
Dwayne. Villanova? No, you're right. It wasn't Dwayne McLean. They had the two. I think you're right. I think it was Gary. They had Dwayne McLean and they had Gary McLean. They were spelled different.
Yes. The guy who was doing bumps on the bench at the championship game, or in the Final Four at least.
Yeah, Gary McLean, McLain.
Was that Villanova?
Yeah, Villanova.
Villanova. Yeah.
He did coke before the Final Four.
That was a crazy story. Like that's pretty bonkers. I think that's the third time I said bonkers on this podcast.
Yeah, what's a bonkers podcast?
Yeah,
like Baby Billy Bible bonkers. That word. If you ever watched The Righteous Gemstones this year, there is Danny McBride said whatever the record for dongs in a TV series, they've shattered it, and they have. It's the episode 4 started with Baby Billy, played by the great Walton Goggins. You just see him; he's water skiing, and you think, "Oh, look at him water skiing," and they close in. Completely naked, water skiing, and he kicks one. I didn't even notice this the first time. I watched it. I watched the episode twice because it is so funny. It is the dirtiest they've ever been, and it is amazing. It's such a great episode. He kicks one ski off, and where he puts his foot, then all the water is hitting him right in the balls. Like he's enjoying it. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is great." In the episode 2, that one starts with him standing in his dressing room before he's hosting his game show, Baby Billy Bible Bunkers. He just no pants on. If he's just yelling at somebody for like a minute, and it's just there he is, just completely, just naked from the waist down.
Dude, I am enjoying that show so much.
It's such a great show.
I think I'm about halfway through the first season.
Oh,
and it's so
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
It's so good. Like I'm at the point where the sun has come back, and it's so hilariously. It's so good. It's so good.
Has Baby Billy even arrived yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because he takes over the church that used to be the Cedars.
Right. Yeah. Oh, he's the greatest. And I love Judy. Man. Judy is by far the worst person on TV, and she's great.
Is Judy his wife or
Judy's the sister.
Oh, the sister.
The sister.
It's painful watching her, like the character, try to the John Goodman character.
Yeah,
it's cringeworthy and so hilarious at that show is. Praz, you got to watch it. It's so good.
Definitely, I've heard a lot of people talking about it.
Judy has a scene in the one that was on this week where. Eli has a new girlfriend, and the kids are not cool with it. And they've lured them to their ancestral lake house. That's what Danny McBride's character called it, the ancestral lake house, because they're so sure that he will be overcome by memories of their mom at the lake house that he will dump the woman that he's dating, played by Mela Mullally. And when they realize it's not going to work, Judy just finally goes, "Fine, I'll just go turn her." And she storms into the bedroom, and the stuff she says to that woman is so it's hilarious and awful, and it's the best.
I can't wait.
Such a good show.
Can't wait.
When that show first was on, I was like, this show is either going to be really funny or terrible, and my money was on terrible. And it's so much better than it has any right to be. It's such a good show.
It is really good.
It's really well written. For as dirty as they are, the stuff they say is like really clever. Like it's really good.
It's so good. It's so good. I agree. Like I gotta find like a few hours to just binge watch a bunch of them. But I'm afraid to do it because I don't want to miss anything. And when you binge watch a show, like when I do it, like you just sort of you do it so quickly that you forget things that happen. Maybe it's just me, but it's so good.
Yeah, you can't savor the episode because you immediately plowed into the next one.
Yes. It's a really, really good show. That's I'm rewatching Silicon Valley too, and that's really good.
I did that. I tend to watch right before I go to bed. I tend to watch like an old, and so I've done like I rewatched New Girl, which I think is really funny. Yeah. Like I didn't watch it when it was on at first. I think it's really funny. Okay. And shit, what's the one? I can't think of the name of it. There's a very similar show that was on ABC with the 4. Oh shit! I rewatched that. I rewatched Silicon Valley. I rewatched Veep.
I've never seen Veep either.
Veep's incredible.
Yeah.
And I did an entire rewatch of Seinfeld and realized there were some episodes of Seinfeld that for some reason I didn't see when it was on the first time. Not very many.
Okay.
And now I'm in the middle of I'm watching Cheers, and that's a haul. Because it's 11 seasons of like 28 episodes, but it's so worth it. And I was so happy when I got very impatient for them to get rid of Diane. You get to the end of that 5th season, I just go away. I know you're going to go away. Could you just go away now? And the show is so much, it's so much better with her gone. Yeah, she was on for the first 5, and then Kirsty was on for 6.
Oh, no, I didn't realize she lasted that long.
Yep.
Yeah, that was not a good character.
Yeah. And there's stuff in that like, Frasier's very first episode, he shows up. It's the first episode of season 2, I think. I mean, the second episode, and it's amazing how like well formed he is as a character in one episode. Like he's Frasier.
Yes.
Like he's just the guy you're going to spend the next 15 years of your life or more than that because of the however long Frasier was on. He nailed it like from the very start.
Yeah.
And then
speaking of cocaine.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, he tells some really good stories on the podcast that Ted Danson and Woody have. They talk about all kinds of shit. And then like the last year of Coach, and you can you can kind of see him really slowing down. Like he's not quite the same. And they said they noticed it on set. He couldn't remember like he was playing. Nicholas Colasanto was obviously playing kind of a dim guy.
For a second, For a second, I thought you meant the show Coach.
Oh no, not with Dauber. I'm not rewatching that. I like that show was on. I'm not going to rewatch Coach.
That's how I'm like, did Craig T. Nelson? Is that what we're talking? Anyway,
but they said Nicholas Colasanto was such a good actor that for the first 2 seasons, Coach is he knew all his lines. He knew exactly where to be, and he was playing a dope, a very lovable dope. But they said in that last season, he was more like Coach all the time because he was having a hard time. He couldn't remember his lines. He was getting really frustrated because he couldn't remember. He wasn't feeling well. I don't know what he died of. I think he had cancer. And that's how they noticed it. And they actually moved a cold open that they had done with Coach that they moved until after he died. It's like the first. I think that's how they did it. I think he might be in the first episode of the season after he died. I don't remember. Now, Chuck Gittles is our Cheers historian. He will immediately correct me on all this stuff. Okay. But they actually deal with it in the show. They talk about, Coach. And Coach comes up in like subsequent years. They tell stories about Coach.
Yes. Yeah,
and the one noticeable thing is he had Nick had in his dressing room, he had a picture of, I think it's Geronimo. And after he died, you see that they put it on the set. It's on the wall in Cheers. So you always see that.
I thought it was, wasn't it on one of the posts on the bar or something? Maybe.
It may have been, but that's where Sam's picture was.
Okay.
Of Mayday pitching. And when the corporation bought the bar from him, they took it down. And when he bought it back, he ended up buying it back for $1. The first thing he did was he hung his picture back up on the post.
Wait, sorry.
Sam's picture of himself pitching
in the show, not like the
show.
real book. Yeah, okay.
So, all right, so that's good. The baseball podcast, we talked about Gary McLean, Righteous Gemstones, what I've been rewatching.
Yeah, it's worth talking about. It's good stuff. I mean, it's a week into the season. What can you can't fill 2 hours.
Hey, you guys want to hear something heartwarming baseball related that happened today?
Sure.
Kyle Hendricks still owns the Cardinals. Went 6 innings, only allowed 2 earned runs.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Angels versus Cardinals.
I will never not root for Kyle Hendricks. I don't care who he winds up. Well, maybe if he winds up with the Cardinals.
Oh, but clinging to a lead still, too. Other show I couldn't think of was Happy Endings. That's a funny show.
Oh.
It was on ABC.
I got to get through Righteous Gemstones and Silicon Valley, and I'm rewatching Better Call Saul. That's much better than I remembered it. I mean, I've always remembered it being really, really good, but it's even better than that.
Yeah, it's
that's really good.
On the rewatch, the first season's kind of slow.
You think?
Well, especially compared to what it turns into. Like, it's good, but it's kind of amazing they were able to just take as much time as they did on everything. But the thing that's pretty clear about that show is they had Vince Gilligan knew exactly where the show was going from the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
But it's funny because
I think it's good.
Originally that was supposed to be, it was going to be like a sitcom. Like, it was going to be a half hour, and it was going to be these wacky hijinks of Saul Goodman. And that's what AMC wanted. And Vince is like, I think there's a regular hour long, we can still there will be funny stuff in it. And there is, because Bob Odenkirk is funny.
Oh yeah.
But it turned into, it's such a great show.
Well, the character's hilarious. Who's the guy who, Trout, the guy who plays that guy? He's good. That's a really good character too, especially in Better Call Saul.
Jonathan Banks, is that his name?
Is that his name? That's just that character is way better than what I remember it being the first time I watched the show.
He's in Airplane. I think he's in The Tower. He was in a Zucker Brothers movie.
He is such a unique looking guy, and I don't remember him from anything before Breaking Bad. I didn't remember at the time. I think I may have seen him in something. I'm like, wait, that's that guy.
He's a Beverly Hills Cop too. That's, I think, what I remembered him from.
That's right. Okay. Now that you mentioned that, that's right.
What's Gunderson in Airplane? I don't remember who Gunderson is.
I think he's in The Tower. It's another. Chuck is also yelling now because it's Chuck's other wheelhouse. It's
Jonathan Banks. It is Jonathan Banks. Okay. Man, that's so good. Yeah, he is Beverly Hills Cop. Okay.
All right. Well, we've run out of Cup stuff to talk about.
Well, like I said, it's a week into the season.
I mean, yeah,
bullpen sucks, sort of. Although I still feel good about it. The offense is good, sort of.
We'll see what it looks like tonight against the one good pitcher that the A's have.
Where are they throwing Severino?
Yep.
I will say that I watched the opener. I watched the Rays opener too against the who'd they open against? The Rockies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Their minor league stadium much nicer than the A's.
Oh, absolutely.
Steinbrenner Field, the one in Tampa.
But that's the Yankees stadium, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I were the Yankees wouldn't do it, but if I were Stu Sternberg.
Yeah.
I'd be like, can we just buy this and add 20,000 seats to it, and it could just be our stadium in Tampa?
I feel like that would cost them so much more money than just building a new stadium.
It would if they had to buy it from the Yankees.
Well,
the Yankees had just renovated it.
Didn't they already have some kind of stadium deal in place?
They did, and it because of the hurricane and the cost of putting a roof on the Trop, which they would have to do because you got to play in that until you can build it. Tampa pulled out, and then wanted to well, they didn't pull out. They wanted to renegotiate it, and Sternberg basically said, "Well, all right, we're not doing it then." And now the other owners are mad at him.
Yeah,
Wow.
because they really want to do that so that they can get the so they can get the new teams in.
Right. They don't want him taking. They don't want him moving to like Charlotte or Nashville and taking a potential expansion site off the table. They don't want that. They already Las Vegas, maybe. I still don't think they did. I say it all the time. I'll be amazed if the A's ever play a game as the Vegas A's.
In Vegas?
Yeah.
You think?
They might as well get very comfortable in Sacramento because I think they're in there for the long haul there. I mean, that park, I guess, is nice. It doesn't look as... It's older. It doesn't look as cool as...
just the amenities of that place like are shocking. Like having the clubhouses in the outfield and having like that shed where they had to do the media stuff. Did you see that, Oleg?
No.
Yeah, there's this shed they pitched in the outfield. Yeah,
the thing is that no matter where they go, or like even if they stay in Sacramento, they still got to build a stadium.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the easy solution. This is why I should be commissioner. Is I would, if I were Rob or Tobe Manfred, as Bruce Levine was calling, I would force John Fisher to sell.
We got to force both of them to sell. Sternberg,
but I would start with Fisher, and I'd say, well, you're going to sell. And I would find a group that will move the A's back to Oakland. And the solution is, while they're in Sacramento, is to tear down the Coliseum and build a baseball stadium where the Coliseum is.
Would make sense.
Because that's a perfectly good site. It's just a shit stadium.
Yes.
And a lot of that's because Al Davis fucked it up when the Raiders moved back.
Yeah.
They did all kinds of ungodly things to that place.
I want to say it's still being used though by some like lower level soccer team right now.
I'm pretty sure you can find a new place for them. You can bulldoze it. If you're gonna bring the A's back, you could bulldoze that place.
Yeah, I don't know that's gonna stop it. But what I'm fascinated by is something that you brought up a while back, Andy, and that's somehow creating a national TV contract that covers all games for all teams.
That's what Rob does want to do that, and they're getting pretty close. They have absorbed the rights for a lot of teams now.
But the Yankees will never do it, right? The Yankees and the Red Sox probably would never do it. Not
the Yankees,
the
Red
Dodgers.
Sox, and Cubs. They all claim they're open to it, but they're going to piss the other ones. They're going to want a bigger cut than the big market teams are going to want a bigger cut.
Too. Yeah.
But you may need to do it to make it happen. You just may have to embrace the reality that there's some teams. Some teams are going to sell so many more packages for us that they're going to get more out of this.
You're going to have to divide up the season, right? You're going to have to divide up the games between different carriers. Or are you saying that it's just going to be one big streaming?
No, if I were MLB, it would basically be what MLB TV is now, except there would be no blackouts.
No, right.
You could either buy it by the team or buy it by the whole package. You know, because right now that's the big limitation with MLB.TV is that like we can't see all the games.
Yeah, but they have to have they're going to get they have to sell broadcast rights because you have to have regular TV or regular cable pick up something.
I mean, when Rob's thing, he doesn't want what they're doing now. He doesn't want MLB to have to produce games for teams.
Right. Well, it's an NFL-like package, right? Like you have to sell. Like with the NFL, it's easy because there's only 17 games, so there were 18 weeks, right?
Yeah.
With baseball, you just have way more games, so you have to divide them up somehow because you're not going to get $2 billion from somebody to broadcast $2 billion a year, whatever it might be, right? 30 teams times even $100 million average per team for TV rights.
See, I think because baseball has become a regional sport,
right?
Mm-hmm.
The value is in putting all the games together so that fans can pay to. Basically, instead of they have to do it backwards. Instead of being able to sit back like the NFL does and go, all right, Fox, NBC, CBS,
Yes.
Amazon and whoever are going
Yes.
to give us a bunch of money, you're still going to have a package to sell for the playoffs and all that other stuff. But their current package is limited in that the blackouts fuck it up for a lot of people. There are a lot of people who would buy MLB.TV, but because they can't watch the team they want to watch on it, they're not going to bother. I think if they fix that, they could make a fair amount of money. They're going to have to sell it directly to the fans.
That's fine. I get that.
I don't think the regular season has a lot of value TV-wise. To a network. I don't think it has a lot of value to a network.
You mentioned what I keep wrapping my head around, or trying to wrap my head around, is you mentioned that the Dodgers get about $175 million a year.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Right. So now, granted, that's on the high end. Let's assume, and I don't know if the assumption is right. Let's assume that the average regional TV contract for any team is $100 million.
That's way too high.
Right? Is it?
Yes.
You think it's us?
Like the Cardinals had a sweet deal. It was going to pay him $75 million a year.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then Sinclair went tits up, and they don't even get half that. That's part of the reason why they're not trying, because they're.
So what do you think? So you got it. So my point being is that you have to somehow make up, or the revenue that you have to create is probably in the $1.5 billion. At $100 billion, that's a $3 billion nut that you have to create.
Yeah.
So now you have to do it. So let's say $1.5 billion. That's what you kind of have to create in revenue to broadcast all of the games. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to sell that many MLB TV subscriptions. So now you have to make.
But what's your alternative?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
You can't. What I'm saying basically is, if I'm MLB, there's no NFL like regular season package we can sell.
Agreed.
We're a regional sport now. Until you get to the playoffs, and then there are a lot of baseball fans who, like us, we watch the Cubs every day, but then when the playoffs start, we watch them because it's baseball and we're going to watch them. So the value to the networks is in the postseason. So you need to figure out, how do you best monetize the regular season? Because selling some games off to Apple and selling some games to Roku, and ESPN backing out of their contract, and Fox doing the odd some Tuesday night game, or Tuesday night on TBS, and Wednesdays on Fox, and Saturdays on Fox once the summer starts. That's not getting you. That's not getting you that. You could still do that. You could still. This wouldn't prohibit it. But what you need to do is, if you could actually sell a national package that has every team in it.
Yes,
that's far more valuable than what you're trying to sell right now.
I see what you're saying. So right now, and I guess I'm looking at it this way: the total amount of revenue that all 30 teams make from their TV contracts, that's the amount of revenue that you have to make. That's what you have to create in any new plan, any new package, and any new whatever. Like, I'm the weird one, right? I get MLB TV, and I don't watch my favorite team, their network, right? So that's the interesting thing to me, is you have to at least make up that revenue, whatever the total amount of regional revenue is for the teams. You can still split it up however you split it up. So some teams may even make a little bit more than they're making now, whatever you do. So you have to make up that revenue, and then anything on top of it, that's the profit.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to. I'm sure they split the national TV money up 30 ways, and I would still do that. But I think if you can get every team into a package that you could sell for the regular season, it has to be by market size, right? Like, you can't ask the Cubs and the Yankees.
I agree.
Actually, the team that would make out really well, and they shouldn't, would be the White Sox, because on their own, their rights aren't worth that much. But if you did it by market size, they'd get like the third highest payout because of that.
So them or the Angels probably could do pretty well.
Like the second teams in these. Although the Mets and the Yankees, New York is so freaking big that they probably do deserve to divvy it up in half.
Right.
The Dodgers TV deal was for 25 years, $8.25 billion.
So I'm curious, and I can't really find it very quickly. Like, I'm curious how many subscribers there are to MLB TV.
I don't know if MLB tells people. They don't have to.
Because you're assuming that number has to go up by a lot in order to.
But I think it should. Like the limitation to it is the exact thing you said. Like you're the oddball.
Yeah.
The MLB.TV is not attractive to someone who only wants to watch their team. Because that's in most places, that's the one team you can't watch on.
Agreed.
So this would be the place to get. You'd get the Cubs and you get every other team instead of you get every team but the Cubs and the White Sox in Chicago.
It just decreases, right? And needless to say, that decreases the value of the regional contracts. Obviously,
it does,
but that's fine. Because the regional contracts right now aren't worth shit for.
Well, I think that's a window into, like, if you're the Cubs, right? So, as of right now, I don't think they've moved yet. They're on the Comcast, like the regular tier. If you get Comcast, you get Marquee.
Yes,
they're going to move to they're going to move up to the sports tier, and that's going to cut into their revenue.
Right.
What you didn't see them do was play hardball with Comcast and basically say, no, we're not going to move. Because they didn't want to risk Comcast dropping them, because they know they can't sell enough, because they have an alternative they never had before. You could just buy Marquee from them. They clearly aren't that confident that they could make up that revenue. They're like, you know what, fine, we'll just move us. That's fine. We'd rather take less from you than nothing from you, because we can't make it up. We don't think. I'm sure they have a projection that when you move up in the Comcast tier, that their Marquee subscriptions will go up, the direct ones. Some people are like, I'm not paying that to.
But difference is paying $10 or $15 a month for the sports package as opposed to $20 a month for Marquee, which I'm sure is what Comcast is mandated. Make it expensive enough so that people aren't dropping Comcast or aren't, like, nobody's dropping.
And I kind of wonder now if once Comcast moves you to the big tier, if you don't then feel beholden, maybe you don't have to charge $20 a month anymore. Maybe you feel like maybe we could charge 10 for this and sell 3 times as many.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And actually make more money. Yeah,
that's kind of what my argument is.
I have a feeling they won't do that. I don't think they think they could. I don't think they think they can sell 3 times as many. But if they did, that would be the move. You'd get more subscribers and you'd make more money.
The only way that I know I'm weird, but the only way that I would think that I would subscribe to Marquee is in your plan if it was just part of MLB TV.
Yeah, like I only get it. Yeah. I get it because it's just part of my cable. Well, right now it was easy to get it because it came with Comcast.
Right.
But I also am a dope who, even with a Marquee on the regular plan, I get that other tier. So they're just going to, I'm not even going to know when it happens because they're still going to be on channel, whatever the hell channel they're on.
Mm-hmm. No, I
should remember because I have to tell I can't, this is the thing. They named that stupid, there's a TV network called Marquee, like an old timey thing on Comcast. Yeah. So if you say Marquee 50% of the time, you don't even go to the right place. It's 637. I can tell the remote the number. Like I've used the voice remote. If you hit the thing and go,
I didn't know.
You can go Marquee. You can literally say Marquee Sports Network, and if my box is feeling the right way, it's like, oh, Marquee must go to Marquee, and you go to like this, like direct to consumer, like old timey movie thing. And then you have to tell it again. So I literally hit the button and say the number.
That's what's annoying about about my Bluetooth in my car. Like whenever I tell Spotify my voice in my car to play Spoon, the band Spoon, it goes to God knows what else. That's not what I meant. Yeah, I'm with you. But that's sort of like that's what's interesting because I'm not giving that family any money, or I'd rather not.
I'd have a really hard time paying them $20 a month, and if I did, I guarantee you I wouldn't do it for a minute after the season ended.
Yeah, and that's.
Although I would miss out on exciting Loyola men's and women's basketball and men's volleyball. They run so many freaking commercials for that. It's like nobody wants to watch that shit. Stop running the commercials.
That and Follow the Money, the VSiN show. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, they got to sell the Cubs. Like, why aren't they selling them? Like, it's obviously a cash.
Because they're right. Everything they claim about how we're just trying to break even.
Yeah.
Their actions betray that because clearly they're pumping in cash hand over fist. Just be honest about it.
Well, I'm sure that they're moving it around to the real estate ventures or whatever the real estate corporation that they have is.
Yeah, it's
I know,
propping up all their other failed businesses. That's what it's doing.
Yeah. It's another thing that Chuck is yelling at us about, probably.
Todd's freaking exotic bike shop. That's where they can't pay Kyle Tucker because Todd bought a dozen more $40,000 bicycles that he can't sell.
He has a bunch of penny farthings. Why can't I sell these?
Oh well.
All right, fuck that family.
All right. Well, the Cubs have 3 more wins than I thought they'd have at this point.
No,
so they're that far ahead of the game. I was expecting. I saw the early schedule and thought, "Oh, they're going 0-14 again. They're going to have to dig out of that hole." But they're not.
They're going to have to dig out just like they did in '97.
We already mentioned one guy living in a van. Might have to have Cap go back to the van for that
that's
one.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what was that story?
When they started 0-14 in '97, he lived out in some van outside of Wrigley until they won a game.
Why? Did anybody know that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was doing Sports Central from it. It was the WGN van. Their live truck. And he was doing Sports Central every night from it. And he couldn't move out of it until they finally won. And they finally had to go to New York, and they had that doubleheader against the Mets, and they finally won a game.
He didn't sleep in there.
There's a whole I used to do those fake oral histories.
Yeah.
On Desipio, and the oral history on the '97 Cubs is fake, except for the Dave Kaplan parts, which are real. We talked about it, and so his quotes are real. I'll link to it on the post for this. It's really funny.
Speaking of rewatching things, I should go back. Did you did make a book out of the 2003 season? Is that right? All your posts from 2003?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oops, they did it again. I believe was the name of that, but me and Britney Spears.
Are those still archived on Desipio.com? Can you still get to those articles?
It goes back quite a ways. There was one of my web hosts crapped out one time, and I lost a bunch of stuff. But I have a lot of stuff still.
That's fun. That'd be fun to go back and read. That'd be cool. Because 2003 is when we kind of started.
Well, it's fun now, right? Like, obviously, when it first happened, it wasn't fun to revisit that stuff. And then even once they won the World Series, it took all the stink off that. You can just go back, and you can just enjoy it for living through it now because you actually finally got to see the thing you waited your whole life for.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I never was much. Yeah, I never was much bought. Like living in the moment, going through the 2003 season was kind of a blast. Like that summer was.
Oh, it was amazing. That was such a fun year.
Absolutely, it was.
That got completely ruined by. They would have been better off losing Game 5 to the Braves.
Yeah,
people would think more fondly of them than they do.
Exactly.
And there were so many cool things that happened in that NLCS, but then it ended in such trauma. That people didn't want to relive it. And now you can relive it and not worry about it. Like you can just,
This is all Kerry Wood's fault for having his last great performance as a starter in that game.
Sarah weeing out of the window. They kept showing her. That game against the Braves, they kept showing her in the box, and we kept writing wee because it looked like she's literally waving a pom pom. And then Fox wouldn't show her, and they got so much shit from the Cubs that Fox wouldn't. The Cubs were like, don't do that. That's not fair. She's just trying to watch her husband, but they wouldn't show her during the NLCS because they got so much shit from the Cubs for showing her. Like after every strikeout, they were showing her.
Yeah. We went down to Florida. We drove down to Florida for those 3 games. Me and a couple buddies. That was just a blast. I met this woman down there, and we just had a really great time. That was fun. My younger days. My biggest she invited me. She lived in Seattle at the time. She was from Naperville. She lived in Seattle at the time, and she invited me to take a road trip with her from Seattle to San Diego. I was out of work at the time. And my biggest regret is not doing it.
Why didn't you do it?
Because I found it right as she asked me, the day after I got a job offer. And I got to take this job. I don't have any money. I got to take that. But I should have taken that trip. They could have easily waited an extra couple weeks for me.
Was it Cindy Sandberg?
I should have done it. It was not Cindy Sandberg.
No.
Her name was
Now,
Marcia.
that would have been a great button to that story.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. I'm not that old.
2003? She was probably still relatively well preserved, right?
She had
When
to
did
be
that
in
all
the 40s,
blow up?
right?
93 with her and Rhino?
94,
Yeah, I
I
guess.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. But she was in her 30s.
Right. Early 94, he quit, which he still doesn't get shit for. I never quite understood that. And he had to come back in 96 because the 95 Cubs looked like they were promising, but they weren't. So he had to come back. Refound his love for the game with Margot. All right. Well, the Cubs should come home on Friday with a winning record.
They should.
Should be 5-4 when they come rolling in.
It's hard. It's hard to sweep, but it should at least be
4-5.
4-5.
Yeah.
That's what I'd have them pegged as, 4-5.
All right. Well, then they can get to 500 with a win over the Padres. I'm sure they'll do fine against the Padres.
All right.
Who is starting the home opener? Shota, right?
Shota.
It'll be that's awesome. All right. Now maybe I'll buy
Just
Shota.
like last year's home opener.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah, at least that'll be fun. All right.
Well, at least I didn't give you any beers for turning down the fantasy baseball game. So
No.
Yes.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. I mean, got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much. Awesome.